Big East is back, and this is promising to be probably the best game left on the schedule. It is Villanova at Creighton. Uh, this is pretty much for all the marbles in the Big East. It is now or never really for Creighton. They're currently in second place in the Big East standings, but they're 3 games back in the loss column. So they need to start making up ground, and they'll have to do it in this game by beating Villanova to have any chance of winning the Big East title. It should be a Gus Johnson game. We are anticipating it being a Gus Johnson game. It should be the matchup of the year in the Big East. Not saying a whole lot, but it should be fun.
Yeah, when you think about teams that lack consistency, Creighton's certainly right up there. I mean, losing to Georgetown at home, losing to Marquette at home, you can't be losing those kinds of games, especially at home. And it's been a weird season for Creighton. I mean, they played Kansas tight in Allen Fieldhouse. They only lost by one, and they easily could have tied it if Marcus Zagorowski hit a free throw. But, they've won some good games, and they've just had some clunkers. And what really is the key for Creighton winning is shooting threes and making them. They'll shoot a ton of them, but they have to make them. And that starts with Marcus Zagorowski and Mitch Ballack. Those two need to have big games in this one. But Villanova is not going to give you anything easy from the 3-point line. They defend the 3-point line tremendously every single year.
Absolutely. Uh, Villanova is certainly a really good team. And, I think the other thing, too, this is kind of a Villanova team. They don't really have a great interior scorer or interior defender. I don't think Jeremiah Robinson Earl, he's not really a guy that can protect the paint all that good. But the one thing Creighton really doesn't have is an interior scorer. Like they have Christian Bishop, who's like basically a knock-up version of Jeremiah Robinson Earl. They have Ryan Kalkbrenner, so they don't have much inside.
Jacob Epperson, what's he up to? I swear he hasn't played this year.
I don't think we'll see him.
He was supposed to be good. I don't know what happened.
I don't know either.
He plays 5 minutes a game. Like, what's happening here?
It's getting replaced by Ryan Kalkbrenner.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. And this year, teams are shooting 37% from three against Villanova. So, like, the Villanova defense hasn't been as spectacular as we've seen in years past. Now, obviously, good performance coming off that against Marquette, but we saw Georgetown put up 74. They gave up 72 to Seton Hall, 74 to Seton Hall, gave up 70 to Creighton or to St. John's. This is not the Villanova defense, the traditional Villanova defense that I think we're all accustomed to, where they're just going to grind it out and win every game 75 to 60. I think this is a little bit more offensive center team, and they will certainly need some good offense to win this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, at the end of the day, I still trust Jay Wright to figure it out. They had a COVID pause that lasted over a month. So I feel like that kind of goes. They had to find their defensive identity. And I still think they're a tremendous team, even though they've had some clunkers, some that they've been able to win. Obviously, they lost at St. John's. But, I mean, Jeremiah Robinson Earl has been pretty bad shooting from three this season prior to the Marquette game where he went 5 of 5 from deep. So if Jeremiah Robinson Earl can start getting hot, that'd be fantastic. But Caleb Daniels has been a great player for Villanova. He's up there with, like guys like Eric Paschal for being one of the better transfers in recent memory for Villanova with the kind of impact he's having. He might be the best pure scorer on the roster. He can just go out and get a bucket, and he doesn't have to handle the ball. He just can spot it from three and hit it. He's a fantastic shooter. And Colin Gillespie's had a pretty good season, probably his best season that he's had at Villanova. I feel like for a lot of his career is getting a bit overrated because of, just playing as a lead guy on Villanova for the past 2 seasons, I guess, 3 seasons actually, but sitting behind Jalen Brunson his first year. But this year, he's shooting a career high 38% from deep, and lead career high in assists. He's just a smart guy, even though he got flustered against Posh Alexander and St. John's. I think that Gillespie is a really good player that could lock down Marcus Zagorowski in this game, and Zagorowski will have his hands full on the defensive end against Gillespie.
Yeah, and the thing about Gillespie is he was kind of injured earlier in the season. He's starting to round into form. He's upped his points per game by nearly a point per game. He's upped his assists per game from 5.2 to 5.6 per game in conference. So he's someone that I think is playing a little bit better as conference play has gone on, and is getting better as the season goes, which obviously is something you want out of your senior year. You want them and really all your players to get better as the season goes along. Yeah, they had that clunker against St. John's, but they followed up. They beat Georgetown, game they're supposed to win, but credit to them for winning it, and then they stomp on Marquette. So this is a Villanova team. Certainly the trend appears to be going in the right direction. Do I think they're on Gonzaga or Baylor's tier? Absolutely not. I think they're a level down. I think they're like on a similar tier as like Illinois, Ohio State, like teams like that. But at the same time, this is a Villanova team I think is getting better as the season's gone along, which certainly something, a bright spot for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think this is still a really good team at the end of the day, and Jay Wright's probably the best coach in the sport. So I'm going to side with Villanova. I just don't trust that when it comes down to it, Creighton's going to be able to hit the threes they need to hit. I think even though they don't really have a super big guy, like they don't have a Omari Spellman, they don't have an Eric Paschal that can dominate the paint. Jeremiah Robinson Earl can dominate once he's down there, and he had 9 offensive rebounds a couple games ago. I forgot who they played. Maybe, I don't think it was Mark. It was against St. John's. He had 9 offensive rebounds. So he's shown the ability to be able to pound the offensive glass, get a ton of offensive rebounds, and I think that he could destroy Christian Bishop in this game. And the thing about Jeremiah Robinson Earl is that he's a big man that can defend everybody on the floor. And with Creighton's 5-out offense, he can switch on to anybody, and I think that'll be big in this game with the shooters Creighton has. But give me Villanova to win here.
Yeah, and I will take Villanova again. The only way I could see this going wrong is if Creighton hits 15 23s in this game, which like I wouldn't say is out of the ordinary. Like we've seen Creighton at times they can't hit the they can't throw the ball in the ocean with a paddle boat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Like there's games like that. There's also games where the basket looks like it's 10 feet wide and there's no way they can miss it. It really, it's game by game with Creighton, especially this year. I think the smart pick is to take Villanova. I think they'll win this game most often. There's always that, there's, I think, a chance that Creighton just goes berserk. But give me Villanova to win. I think I'll pick them to cover the spread, which is right at an even spread according to some of the metrics. So
just win.
Yeah, I think they'll win the game. But
I agree.
Granted,
100%.
This could end up going horribly wrong and Villanova loses by 30. Anything is possible.
Certainly.
Should be a fantastic game. Hopefully we do get that Gus Johnson call. That would be fantastic.
That'd make it even better.
Yeah. Make sure to tune in and make sure to subscribe to Making the Madness on YouTube. We'll continue to get rolling as we get near March Madness. Selection Sunday right around the corner here.